America has more ghost towns than living ones. Over 3,000 documented, abandoned, erased. Some ran out of gold, some ran out of water, some ran out of time, and some America just decided to forget. These are 10 of them. Real places, real stories, no filler. Welcome to Fallow Empire. Number 10, Panamint City, California. Most towns have an origin story. Panamint City's origin story begins with a robbery. In the early 1870s, a gang of outlaws operating in Death Valley robbed a Wells Fargo stagecoach. The silver they stole was substantial enough that they needed somewhere to hide and to spend it. So they went deeper into the desert, up into the Panamint Range, into mountains so remote, so hostile, that no lawman would follow. And they built a town. At its peak, Panamint City had 2,000 residents, a newspaper, saloons, and silver mines that produced real wealth, in addition to the stolen kind. The Timbisha Shoshone, whose ancestral land this was, had a different view. According to local accounts, the tribe issued a curse on the settlement. Cave-ins, flash floods, fires. Panamint City suffered disaster after disaster, each one seemingly worse than the last. By 1876, it was over. A catastrophic flood tore through the canyon, destroying most of the town and convincing the survivors to leave. Today, Panamint City is accessible only by a brutal 8-mile hike through Death Valley terrain. Almost no one makes it. The ruins sit in a canyon that feels like it's still waiting for you to leave. Number 9, St. Elmo, Colorado. St. Elmo sits at 9,000 feet in the Colorado Rockies. In the 1880s, over 2,000 people lived here. Miners, merchants, families, all chasing gold and silver from the mountains. They built a post office, a hotel, a general store, a schoolhouse, a church. They built a town. The railroad came in 1881. The railroad left in 1922. And when the railroad left, almost everyone followed it out. Almost everyone. Annabelle Stark refused to go. She and her brother Tony stayed behind after their parents died. They ran the general store alone in a town that was slowly becoming a ruin around them. Visitors who passed through in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s described a woman who watched strangers from her window, who didn't speak much, who simply stayed. She died in 1960. Her brother a few years later. The mountains got very quiet after that. Today, St. Elmo is considered the best preserved ghost town in Colorado. 43 original buildings still stand. The schoolhouse still has its chalkboard. The hotel still has its sign. But Annabelle is gone, and the town she refused to leave belongs to everyone now, and no one. Number 8, Glenrio, Texas/New Mexico. Glenrio sits right on the state line between Texas and New Mexico. For decades, it didn't matter which state you were in. Glenrio was the stop. Motels, diners, gas stations with hand-painted signs. Route 66 ran straight through the heart of town, and every car on that road had to pass through Glenrio. Then Interstate 40 was built. Just a few miles to the north. A straight, fast, modern highway that didn't need Glenrio. Didn't need the diner, didn't need the motel, didn't need any of it. Trucks stopped stopping, families stopped stopping. America just drove past. Today the Texaco station still stands, pumps rusting in the sun. The old motel sign, faded, cracked, still faces a road that no one takes anymore. Glenrio didn't run out of anything. It wasn't poisoned. It wasn't flooded. It was simply bypassed. And in America, that's enough to kill a town. Number 7, Kennecott, Alaska. The Kennecott mines in Alaska's Wrangell St. Elias Mountains produced over 1 billion pounds of copper between 1903 and 1938. J.P. Morgan backed it. The Guggenheims financed it. A 196-mile railroad was built through some of the most inhospitable terrain in North America just to get the ore out. Kennecott was not a rough mining camp. It was an engineered company town. Hospital, school, tennis courts, a recreation hall. Workers lived there year-round, through Alaskan winters that would break most people. Then one day in November 1938, the last profitable vein of copper ran out. The company sent word. Workers were told to pack what they could carry. Everything else, furniture, equipment, personal items, food still in cupboards, was left behind. Within weeks, the town was empty. The massive red mill buildings, 14 stories tall, still stand today against a backdrop of glaciers and snow-capped peaks. You can still see the dinner plates, still see the calendars on the walls stopped at 1938, a town that ran like a machine and was switched off like one. Number 6, Rhyolite, Nevada. In January 1905, two prospectors named Shorty Harris and Ed Cross found gold in the Nevada desert near Death Valley. Within 6 months, Rhyolite was a town. Within 3 years, it was a city. 8,000 people, 3 railroads, electric streetlights, a stock exchange, an opera house, concrete sidewalks, a house built from 10,000 glass beer bottles because lumber was too expensive to haul through the desert. Then the panic of 1907 hit Wall Street. The mines were reassessed. Turns out they had been overvalued. Investors pulled out. Charles M. Schwab, who had bought the largest mine, watched his investment collapse. By 1910, 675 people. By 1920, 14. The bottle house still stands. The Cook Bank building, 3 stories of Nevada sandstone, still stands, though its floors have long since collapsed. The power company turned off the electricity in 1916. Nobody was around to complain. Rhyolite rose from 2 tents to a city of 8,000 in less than 3 years, then fell back to dust in less than 5. The desert was there before Rhyolite. The desert will be there long after. Number 5, Thurmond, West Virginia. In the 1920s, more coal moved through Thurmond, West Virginia, than through Cincinnati and Richmond combined. This was not a city. The permanent population never exceeded 500, but as a railroad hub, Thurmond handled freight that would have embarrassed most major American cities. The Chesapeake and Ohio Railway ran right through the middle of town, so close to the buildings that there was no main street. The tracks were the main street, the depot, the hotels, the bank. Everything faced the rails. The Dun Glen Hotel ran the world's longest continuous poker game, 14 years. The alcohol flowed despite the founder's prohibition on his own land. Ballyhack, just outside town limits, was the red light district. Thurmond was filthy with money and completely wild with it. Then in 1949, the Chesapeake and Ohio switched from steam to diesel. Diesel locomotives could travel much further without stopping. They didn't need Thurmond's coal and water depots. They didn't need to stop at all. When the trains stopped stopping, Thurmond stopped existing. Today the population is officially 5. The National Park Service owns 80% of the town. Amtrak's Cardinal Line still passes through 3 times a week, but the depot is unstaffed. The trains don't stop. They never stop. Number 4, Cahawba, Alabama. In 1819, Alabama became a state, and its first governor chose a town site, right at the confluence of 2 rivers, and named it the state capital. The town was built on top of a Native American burial mound. They would discover this later. Cahawba grew fast. Cotton made it wealthy. By the time of the Civil War, 3,000 people called it home, and a railroad had just been completed to the town, promising a future. The Confederate government seized the railroad in 1863, tore up 3.7 miles of iron rails, and shipped them elsewhere. The Union blockade strangled cotton exports. A cotton warehouse in the center of town was converted into Castle Morgan, a Confederate prison for Union soldiers. Designed for 500 men, they packed in 3,000. In 1865, a catastrophic flood inundated what was left of the town. The county seat moved to Selma. The people followed. But this is not where the story ends. After the white residents left, the freed slaves stayed. Former enslaved people bought the abandoned lots, planted crops on the old town blocks, used the abandoned courthouse to organize politically. For a brief, fragile moment, Cahawba was their town. Then Reconstruction ended, and they were driven away too. By 1900, Cahawba was empty. Today it is an archaeological park. In 2019, ground-penetrating radar revealed 215 unmarked graves in the slave burial ground. People buried there between 1819 and 1860. You can walk over them and not know it. Number 3, Gilman, Colorado. Gilman sits on a 600-foot cliff above the Eagle River in Eagle County, Colorado, at an elevation of 8,950 feet, perched on the edge of Battle Mountain like it's deciding whether to fall. From Highway 24 below, you can see everything: the shaft house, the school, the homes, a 57 Chevy dump truck still parked, a 65 Chevy station wagon still parked. The kind of place that looks like everyone just went to lunch. Nobody went to lunch. The EPA ordered the evacuation in 1984, after nearly a century of mining zinc, silver, copper, and lead. The mountain beneath Gilman had become something else entirely. 8 million tons of mine waste. Arsenic, cadmium, copper, lead, and zinc. Not just in the soil. In the groundwater. Orange sludge seeping into the Eagle River below. The EPA designated the entire site a Superfund zone in 1986. Residents were given notice. They packed what they could. They drove down the mountain. They looked back at their homes from the highway below. Former resident Teresa Arguello said, "Every time we drive by, our hearts just warm up. There are signs by the road, hidden and visible dangers, risk of injury or death. There is an obvious footpath worn through the scrub by people whose curiosity outweighs their cooperation." The cleanup was declared substantially complete in 2000, but Gilman remains off limits. The town is on private property. There are no plans for it. It just sits there, visible, unreachable, still waiting. Number 2, Centralia, Pennsylvania. On May 27, 1962, the volunteer fire department in Centralia, Pennsylvania, set the town landfill on fire. This was routine. They had done it before Memorial Day every year for years. But this year there was a hole at the bottom of the trash pit, 15 feet wide. It had been there for years, concealed by garbage, unfilled. The fire went in. Beneath Centralia was a labyrinth of abandoned coal mine tunnels, thousands of feet of them, snaking under the streets, under the houses, under everything. The fire hit the coal seams and spread. They tried to stop it. Trenches, excavation, water injection. Nothing worked. By 1962, the cost to contain it was estimated at $50,000. They didn't spend it. By 1984, the cost to fix it was $660 million. Congress allocated $42 million for relocation instead. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy named Todd Domboski was standing in his backyard when the ground opened beneath him. A sinkhole, 4 feet wide, 150 feet deep, opened in seconds. He caught a tree root on the way down. His 14-year-old cousin pulled him out. The plume of steam rising from the hole contained lethal levels of carbon monoxide. Todd Domboski survived the sinkhole. He died of a medication overdose in 2022. By 1992, Pennsylvania invoked eminent domain on every property in the borough. The remaining residents who refused to leave sued. In 2013, they reached a settlement, each allowed to stay until they die. After death, the state takes the land. Fewer than 5 people live in Centralia today. The fire burns across 6 square miles. It advances 75 feet per year. It reaches temperatures of 1,350 degrees Fahrenheit. Experts estimate it has enough coal to burn for another 250 years. Centralia will be on fire long after every person reading this is gone. Number 1, Dawson, New Mexico. Dawson, New Mexico was the largest company-owned town in the American Southwest. 9,000 people, a hospital, a department store, a golf course, a movie theater, a swimming pool. Phelps Dodge Corporation built it all to keep their miners in one place, working the coal seams that ran through the hills of Colfax County. Many of the miners were immigrants: Italian, Greek, Polish, Mexican, Swedish. They had come to New York, been hired at the Phelps Dodge office, and shipped directly to New Mexico. Many spoke no English. They worked the mines with their sons and brothers. On October 22, 1913, at 3:10 in the afternoon, someone set off a dynamite charge in Stag Canyon Mine No. 2 while workers were still inside. This was against regulations. The blast ignited coal dust throughout the tunnels. Of the 284 men who had reported for work that morning, 263 did not come home. 2 rescuers who went in after them also died. It was the second deadliest mining accident in American history. The mine had passed inspection 2 days earlier. Phelps Dodge provided white iron crosses to mark the graves. The cemetery was expanded. 10 years later, on February 8, 1923, it happened again. A mine car derailed in Stag Canyon Mine No. 1. The sparks hit the coal dust. The shaft collapsed inward. Half-ton boulders of reinforced concrete shattered like paper being blown to atoms. Of the 125 men inside, 2 walked out alive. Many of the dead were sons of the men killed in 1913. The cemetery was expanded again. More white crosses, more rows. Dawson continued operating. People stayed because they had no choice and because Dawson was home. By 1918, the mines were producing 4 million tons of coal a year. In the 1920s, 1,200 students were enrolled in 4 schools. On April 30th, 1950, Phelps Dodge shut down the mines. The coal contract with Southern Pacific Railroad had expired. Demand had shifted. The decision was made in an office somewhere by people who had never been to Dawson. Residents were given 30 days to leave. Buildings were razed, houses were moved to other towns. Mining equipment was disassembled and shipped to other states. The railroad tracks were torn up. The town was erased. Today, all that remains is the cemetery, 5 miles down a dirt road along the Vermejo River. An ocean of white iron crosses in the high desert, 383 of them. Rows and rows and rows. Most have names. Most don't have anyone left to visit them. 10 towns, burned, poisoned, bypassed, erased. By fire, by greed, by a highway built somewhere else. By a corporate decision made in a room none of them would ever see. America has over 3,000 ghost towns. We've only just started. Real places, real stories, no filler. Welcome to Fallow Empire. See you next time.